Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, we have a busy show today. We have a lot of information to cover. We are going to be speaking all about the Rotary Club of Pinehurst in our first set this morning and the good work that they do in Moore County. And we're going to be pivoting and talking with Kathy Virtue, the balance of the show, about a business that she has gotten involved with concerning osteoporosis. My 2 guests this morning in the first set are Jean Liechty, who is the Director of Advancement at the Sandhills Classical Christian School and has been a past guest on the show on behalf of the school, but not this morning.
Not this morning. This morning, as you said, I'm here with the Rotary Club of Pinehurst talking about an event that we have coming up a little bit later in the month, and Fran and I are pretty excited about that. So's the rest of the club. But yeah, when I was here in the past, it's always been on behalf of Sandhills Classical Christian School and
right.
Events and things that are going on there. But it's good to see you again.
The Classical Christian School parallels Moore County in all the growth that's been going on here in the last 8 to 10 years. We thought 15 years ago we were expanding. The last 5 or 10 years have just broken records in terms of commercial growth, expansion, demographic shifts, your student population, your facility is. We have to get back together and talk about that on a separate show.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, the demographic shift is definitely a big part of our story.
Right.
Yeah, all the families. I live in Forest Creek, and when I arrived here 3.5 years ago, even the pool in the summer, no kids. And now it's amazing the number of children that are a part of that community.
Which is a good segue, so I can introduce Fran Grandinetti, because you moved here for 8 years ago. You have children and grandchildren who live here, and that brought you here from Pennsylvania?
That's correct. Both my daughter and son-in-law are military.
Yep.
And so when I retired, they asked us, my wife and I, to come down and join the family, and that's what we did.
And we had a chance to talk just before the show. You had a background in education?
Yes. I was a school superintendent. That was my final career in public ed. And then I went to Gannon University at Erie, Pennsylvania, and I was a professor and for 2 terms the director of the School of Ed.
Tell me how you got involved with the Rotary Club of Pinehurst and why.
Actually, I joined Rotary while I was in Pennsylvania, so
Okay.
I've been a Rotarian for about 35 years.
Okay.
And then when I came here to Pinehurst, it was just a natural to join one of the 4 clubs, and I happened to join the Pinehurst Rotary, and I've been with them for about the past 8 years.
In the past shows we've had with the Rotary over the years, the expression "pay it forward" always comes to mind for me. Tell me a little bit about the Rotary Club and what it does in Moore County.
Well, our motto is similar.
Okay. I hope so.
Service above self.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about. The Rotary is one of the largest service organizations in the United States, actually in the world. And that is our primary mission, to serve without compensation, to serve the community,
Right.
to serve the welfare of the community, and to serve the state and the nation.
The annual Pancake breakfast you have coming up is your 19th annual, and it's going to be on Saturday, May the 20th. It's a big fundraiser for you, isn't it?
That's right, it is. It's at the Village Chapel from 8 to 11 a.m., again on Saturday, May 20th, and the proceeds go to benefit just a whole host of organizations that are here in Moore County serving the community. So again, getting back to what Fran said, really, we're a service organization. First and foremost, that's where our heart is, service above self. And so there's just a whole litany of organizations that benefit from the proceeds. We're hoping to raise between $15,000 and $20,000. Is that right, Fran? 15 to 20,000.
That's usually our goal. Hopefully, between $15,000 and $20,000. And one of the nice things about that amount, it will go entirely into our foundation, and there is no administrative costs in our foundation. 100% of the monies will be directed to various charitable organizations.
I'm glad you said that, because there are some people sometimes who sit on the sidelines who wonder about how the monies, once they come in, how they're distributed, what is held back, with no administrative charges.
We're very proud of that fact that literally 100% of the monies we receive go back out into the community or into various charities that the Rotary provides.
So talk to me about some of the nonprofits, some of the charities that you're benefiting by this pancake breakfast.
Well, they can be divided into really two areas. There's outright donations, and then there are activities that the Rotary is involved in that includes donations. And so, for example, our donations, we just made a major donation to the First Health Cancer Center. We have also provided donations to Guatemala Literacy. That's a reading program in Guatemala. We've provided donations to the More Free Clinic, to Band Boosters, and Sunrise Theater, and to the Prancing Horse Therapeutic Riding Academy. But also we do activities that are connected to donations. So, for example, we donate to the food bank, but we also participate in filling baskets of food for Backpack Pals and the other types of programs that the food bank has. We have an interesting activity where we are responsible for cleaning up trash around the Pinehurst Circle, which we refer to as the Roadkill Project. One of our major projects is Happy Feet, and where we provide shoes for students as they begin the school year. And we're very, very proud of that activity. And we usually service around 100 to 150 students each year.
The underbelly of what you're saying brings up a point that I know you guys are aware of. It's the disappearing middle class. It's the county of haves and have-nots, and you and I were talking about that in the beginning. And it's heartbreaking. You live in southern Moore County, and you see one world. Moore County is full of other worlds, and there are lots of families who are, below middle class, and they are in need of things that we don't always talk about, but it's important. And I guess you guys identify all these groups that you want to target before you set out to do these fundraisers?
We do a general target, because one of our major projects is the dictionary project, where we provide every third grader in Moore County with a dictionary. So we are across all societal programs, all classes, and we go into all of the schools and make this dictionary available in the hopes that it will spur the reading content of all of the students in Moore County.
That's right. When he says all schools, he means public, private, charter, all of them. Yeah, we're well aware. 18% of the population in Moore County is at or below the poverty line, right? And then you've got all these retirees and folks with second homes. And so it's you run the whole gambit here in Moore County when it comes to socioeconomic issues or backgrounds, and there's a lot of need. Rotary, of course, is we're serving the local community, but there's Rotary International. Eradicating polio has been a big thing that Rotary has taken on across the United States, across the world. And so it's pretty expansive, the opportunities and the things that we support. But our primary focus is right here, as Fran was listing all those things. Even the Carolina Philharmonic, there's a lot of need. There's the schools. There's Happy Feet, the More Free Clinic, Habitat for Humanity. We partner with them as well. So there are 15 to 20 different organizations doing fine work that we want to support, either by helping fund it or by rolling up our sleeves and actually getting involved and putting a little bit of sweat equity into it.
And that's really what Gene is saying is really important for the Rotary. It's one thing to give a donation, and that is extremely important. But it's also important for our members to become involved in the activities that the donation is supporting. And that's what we are so proud of. Like, for example, we sponsor the middle school debates, but we also act as judges for those debates along with the English-speaking union.
Right.
We also provide scholarships to students. We just participated in the Dog Dash with Linden Lodge, but we made a donation to sponsor it, but we also participated in the actual program. And that is extremely important for Rotary, not only to give donations, but to connect those donations to activities for our members.
If you can eliminate the anonymity of a contribution and you can get eyeball to eyeball with the people that you are trying to benefit, it makes it, it's a difference maker. It makes a change.
It surely is. Last year we sponsored the, I believe it was the last concert of the Philharmonic for the year.
Right.
But we also acted as ushers for the program.
Right.
So we always find some way to connect our donations with some type of service project for the Rotarians.
Okay. You all meet how often? You have lunches each monthly?
Twice a month.
Yeah.
Second and fourth Tuesday.
Yeah.
But then we also have a evening social. So we basically meet 3 times a year. And our socials are basically the fun part of Rotary. We will have our Halloween party or our Christmas party. So we're not all seriousness. We do have some fun. And our socials are usually a trivia night or some type of entertainment to engage the Rotarians in our social programs.
The event is May the 20th at the Village Chapel, 8 to 11. Who do you hope to see come? Your doors are going to open. Pancakes are going to be served. What part of the population are you hoping walks through that door?
Oh, goodness, just a huge cross-section. I mean, local business leaders, folks, folks right off the street, people from my school, people from my neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
We get members of the military.
That's right. Members of the military, especially here in Moore County with Fort Bragg so close. Yes, we're hoping to see all of them. And like I said, we're here today. There are many things that we could come on your program and discuss in regard to Rotary. But for us, this is the primary fundraiser of the year that then goes to support so many. And that's why we really wanted to come on today, just encourage people to come out, really enjoyable time, bring your neighbors, bring your friends, 8 to 11, some good food. Fran will be flipping those flapjacks, those pancakes. We'll all be out.
And they are absolutely delicious.
I'm sure they are.
You have to taste them and find the tremendous enjoyment of a Rotary pancake.
Well, I have to tell you, your commitment and credibility come shining through as you speak. My observation.
Thank you.
We hadn't met. I have one last question to ask you. How do you get your message or messages out above all the noise that we have, all the competition, the social media? There are, 700, 800 nonprofit organizations in Moore County. Every single one of them has a right to be, but they never taught us in school how to fundraise or how to think outside the box. That was not part of our curriculum, as I recall. It's a challenge today, different than it was pre-COVID and even prior to that.
That's right. It has changed a lot. It's changed a lot in the last 10 years. And of course, what I do for my school advancement, there's a marketing component to the advancement. I'm tasked with not only raising money, but also working the enrollment, growing the school, right? So you have to figure out where your constituents are. And the online component, of course, is huge.
Huge.
And so I don't really do as much if you have print listeners or folks that own newspapers and things. That's wonderful. I don't advertise in there as much, or if I do, it's online with the pilot because that's where people are going. So you have to ascertain where the people are, and then make a compelling message. And usually, the simpler the better. Right? Just a simple, direct message, something that you hope will be visually compelling. and help them see it, draw attention to it amongst all the chatter. For us with this event, one of the things we really rely on is a lot of corporate sponsorships. So a sponsor will come on board and he'll share with his company or his colleagues or his patrons about this event, and they're given so many tickets and then, to hand out because they've purchased a sponsorship, and then they get folks to come. So like with so many other fundraisers, the sponsorships ahead of time are huge, but our doors are going to be flung wide open. We're going to be there to serve breakfast to just anybody who walks in. I guarantee you we will not run out of pancakes. And yeah.
I really appreciate you guys coming on. The Rotary Club of Pinehurst does great work in Moore County. It is May the 20th. That's next Saturday from 8 to 11 at the Village Chapel. And all the proceeds benefit the Rotary Club of Pinehurst Foundation with no admin costs,
Correct.
As you said.
That's right.
A very important point.
Very important point.
Yeah. Thank you guys both for coming in, and wish you the very best of luck with the event. Gene, and we'll get together and do a show about the school because there have been a lot of changes, and we have to figure out a way to get you back in here too. I have a feeling.
And thank you again for giving the Rotary this excellent opportunity to advertise our pancake breakfast.
We live in a very giving community, and Moore County is a great place to live, and there are pockets of our community that need our help. Guys, thanks so much.
Thanks, Bill.
We'll be back in the second set. This is All Things Moore County. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County. We're going to pivot a little bit this set, and our guest for the balance of the show is Kathy Virtue. She's been a Southern Pines resident for over 30 years. She's raised 6 children in the area. She's a golfer, an active horse enthusiast. You have a horse farm. What brought you to Southern Pines? Because you're not originally from here, are you?
No, but if you look on a map of where there's fabulous golf and fabulous horseback riding, you're going to circle Southern Pines. And so for anybody that likes horses and golf, this is heaven.
Funny, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and there was none of that. We played stickball, and we used the sewers on the streets as home plate and second base.
Oh, boy.
So 31 years.
Yes.
You have a story to tell that... I guess, as we go on, we add new chapters to our lives as we discover new information. Mm-hmm. And you have a lot to share with us about your personal experience and what it's done and how you've turned a lemon into lemonade, so to speak. Mm-hmm. You want to...
Yes, I had a wonderful career for 38 years. Most people in town would think of me... and NASCAR. They would put us together because I had a national sports marketing firm here for 30 years of the 38, and we did national sponsorships for the NASCAR drivers. So, we worked with Kraft Foods and Kimberly-Clark Tissue and Pilot Travel Centers, people that were large national companies. And then at 57, I retired and said, yay, I'm going to enjoy my life and my grandkids. My children started to get married. And so it was a wonderful ride, and I had a great career. And I thought, well, from here on out, we'll just be smooth sailing.
Right.
My husband and I enjoy each other's company. We'll do a lot of golfing. We'll do a lot of horseback riding.
Right.
And then I had a catastrophic leg break, the kind that, your leg isn't on your body properly anymore. It's going the wrong direction, that kind. And so it was just horrific. And so after the surgery and the plates and the screws, and they put me all back together, there's fabulous orthopedics here that do an amazing job. Dr. Moore was my doctor, and he put me all back together. But then we discovered I have osteoporosis, pretty bad for somebody my age, pretty bad. And that is the weakening of the density of your bones. And so I was devastated by that news. I hope you could ride again someday, but we don't know. I'm not sure if you can golf again someday. We don't know, because the leg I broke is the one you torque.
May I ask how you broke your leg?
Would you believe I tripped running on a golf course? I was running out of a rainstorm at the beach at Bald Head. I was running a full run, and I hit a wooden stake on the ground that I did not see.
Yeah.
So it hit me in the center of my shin and just broke my leg real severely.
So prior to that accident, did you feel any compromise on your body or your frame that would indicate to you there was something wrong?
Well, I had a bone density test like 5 or 6 years before that, and it was in osteopenia, and they said, take this medicine, and so I did, and then about 10 days later, my jaw was like locked up. So I called my dentist here, and he said, did they prescribe to you bone density medicine? I said, yes, I've been on it about 10 days. He said, stop taking it. You can't take that medicine. And I was like, okay. So I didn't take it anymore. And I just took a lot of calcium and, thinking I drink a lot of milk and I'm really healthy. I don't think I knew how severe bone loss is. That, we have one frame, one structure, and it holds us up.
Right.
And it's got to stay strong.
Right.
Has to stay healthy. And mine was not. But I didn't know
Okay.
till I broke my leg so severely, and that led me on this journey.
So a new chapter in your life that was not anticipated.
No.
And what has it taken you to?
I discovered a natural way to build bone back because, again, I'm not here to knock medicine. That's not what I'm here to say. It just doesn't work for me. I don't care to take the medicine that they prescribe. And so I learned through lots of study. I went all the way to the Mayo Clinic in Florida to get help, and they told me about OsteoStrong. That was a company that builds bone back naturally. They only do one thing. They're not a gym. It's not yoga. They only have Spectrum machines that were designed to trigger bone growth. We do one thing, and we do it really well. So I looked to see if there was one near, and there was one in North Raleigh. So I drove up immediately and was assessed, and yes, we can help you. So I joined. So I religiously drove to Raleigh every Wednesday. I would never miss. You only go once a week. The triggers message to grow bone lasts for 7 days. So I went. So after 9 months, I had another bone strengthening test, and I was already way back out of the osteoporosis and up into osteopenia. I had grown bone already beautifully. I mean, I could not believe it. So I was so excited. I started riding my horse again.
Wow.
I started golfing again. I can walk a golf course now. I do not limp. I got my balance back. I mean, it saved me. That, and obviously I walk and I'm really healthy myself.
Do people know that they can grow bone?
Well, if they do, I didn't. And I consider myself pretty well read. And I did not know.
Right.
Now, I'm not a medical person. I don't have doctors in our family, so maybe a lot more people knew that. But I did not realize that you can help your body grow its own bone back. They're like little osteoblasts and osteoclasts, and they spit bone out. And you can make your bone stronger. So these machines were designed to do just that. You come once a week and you do it. So I did it like it was my job. I never missed my appointment. And now I ride and I golf and I skip with my grandchildren and I have my life back. So I called, as I would, the headquarters of OsteoStrong, and I said, would you please bring one to Pinehurst? I have dear friends that are all, suffering like I'm suffering. You wouldn't believe if I told you the amount of people that have osteoporosis and osteopenia and bone loss and balance issues. It's severe. And it's not just women, it's men too. And so they said, well, thank you, but this is how OsteoStrong works. We are a franchise. So you have to want to purchase the franchise and bring it to your hometown territory, and then we can approve that. So I was like, no, thank you. I've already had my career, and I'm really enjoying my life, so thanks. So I didn't do it. So I just kept praying about it, and it kept coming to mind. And then it seemed like everyone I met, I promise you, everyone I met at church or at the club, or it doesn't matter where I met people, they would say, oh, I have severe osteoporosis. I don't know what to do. And I thought, this is it. I just have to step out in faith and do it. So I bought the franchise and brought it here. We opened last week. So,
you opened last week?
Yes, May 1st.
How do people know, or how do people become aware that they have an issue before it's too late?
Sadly, it's when they break a bone or they break a wrist or they fall or they... Now, many doctors, like my doctor recommended a bone density test when I turned 50, which I took. And as I told you, I had osteopenia, and they put me on meds, and the meds jacked my jaw up, so I had to get off immediately. So I got off. They just didn't work for me.
Okay.
And so, long story short, so many people are suffering. We had a woman that came in OsteoStrong yesterday that I met, lovely local woman, and she had a cast on her forearm, her right forearm, and she said, between the time I made my appointment to come see you, I fell this weekend, and I broke a bone in my wrist. Well, of course, we can't see her till she's completely healed. But she called for help and fell this weekend, which made me very sad. But anyway, we will help her, when she's healed. I like to know when I have the ability to help myself.
Right.
God created our skeletons in a way that they grow new bone. Do you know that you and I sitting here, the bones we have together, our skeletons, in 7 years, you won't have a piece of your skeleton. You'll have all new.
For me, that's great news.
That's great news for me, too.
I'm happy to hear that.
Now, it chips away and chips away, but in 7 years, I will not have the bones that I have right now. My skeleton will be all different, and I have the ability to affect that naturally. It takes 30 minutes once a week,
okay.
And you always have a session coach with you. And anyway, it's a very safe, easy program, and so I love it. I'm a believer. So
these on your pamphlet, the Spectrum system, these machines look, from the photograph, they look like exercise machines that you would see in a gym.
But the way that they designed it, this is so interesting. The doctor that designed it all, his mother got a bad bone, exactly like me. She was my age, and anyway, he didn't want his mother on the medicine. Again, I'm not knocking the medicine. He just didn't want it.
Right.
And so he created a way to trigger your bone to grow, to say, it sends out a little signal from your brain, that force that she's pushing with, again, nothing's coming at you, nothing's herky-jerky, you're just pushing on like a leg plate, and it measures force. And it's the way your legs are at a 120-degree angle. It's the way you're positioned. He did it in a way that when you push at your maximum, you only push for 9 to 10 seconds, and you release. When you do that, a signal leaves your brain that says, oh, boy, we better send some new bone material down to that leg and that hip. Look at the force she's doing. Well, then for a week, you're getting all that bone down in there. And then the signal starts to die down. But see, you're back at OsteoStrong again the next week, and you get that signal sent again. Well, when I went the first time, I heard all of this, and I thought, okay. So I'm going to go, but I'm going to have to see some results. Well, it tells you on the screen. The machine tells you your force, what you did last week.
Right.
Then we send people an email of their progress. You see the report right off the screen, and they're watching the screen as they do it. So you see where your bone growth trigger is. And when you hit it, you've been triggered.
In between the lines of what you're saying and how you're saying it, this was not something you had anticipated doing or thinking about doing. So this is not necessarily something you're doing as a career move, but it's to help others because it's helped you so much. And that's another way, similar to our first guest, of paying it forward. You've only been open a week. How are people reacting?
We've been overwhelmed with the response. I can tell you that we were not anticipating the amount of people that were going to come immediately.
Okay.
And it has been such an affirmation for me that that I did what I was asked to do.
Let's come back in the third set. I have a couple of questions to ask
Okay.
you about some of the things that you can do to help prevent the disease. And I'm wondering, of all these bullet points, how many of them you were involved in?
We'll chat.
Kathy Virtue is our guest. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our final set of All Things Moore County. Kathy Virtue is our guest. OsteoStrong is the franchise that she has started talking about, and the reasons that she started this. You are not trying to create a Fortune 500 company, are you?
No.
You are trying to serve the community and help others as it's helped you. You had habits prior to the osteoporosis that are bellwethers, that people are red flags that people should stop doing, drinking, smoking, other things that.
Well, I wasn't a smoker, and I wouldn't say I was a drinker. I mean, I would have a couple drinks, if somebody had it, but, I'd probably had, 20 drinks a year. But if you really drink, if you have a couple drinks at night, you're really slowing your bone growth down. The doctors will tell you that, and you can look that up online yourself. I think the biggest encouragement that I would give people is to stay up with your doctors with the bone density tests, with the bone strengthening tests, that when they say to you, we're concerned that, and there's some definite red flags. If it's hereditary, like if your mom or your dad suffered with osteoporosis, chances are, like my mother had osteoporosis, something awful. When my mother died, she was actually bending over, and she had osteoarthritis where her hands were crippled up. So I knew, it was coming. But OsteoStrong is the natural, healthy way to fight against that we have the ability within ourselves to give that 30. I have 30 minutes a week that I will dedicate to keeping my skeleton and my frame strong to hold me up. I have a lot of living left that I want to do.
Right.
And so I want to do it healthy.
Right.
And if I can control that somehow, you better believe that I'm going to go. So that's really where the franchise came. I was done with payroll, done with owning a corporation, done with all that. I had my thing and loved my career, but it was over. Okay. So this, I really felt I was called out of retirement to do something to help my friends, my family. I've lived here a long time. I know a lot of people, and so many suffer. So many are suffering with osteoporosis and osteopenia, balance, men as well as women. And so that's who we are. That's who we help.
So what does it look like when somebody walks in your door and you get to give them a guided tour of the facility? What are you going to show them? What are you going to tell them?
Well, let me walk you through that. We offer free assessments, absolutely free. It takes 30 minutes, and you just call us up, 692-6000. Isn't that an easy number, 692-6000? It was my old number I got 31 years ago here, and I saved it for some reason. And I thought someday I may need 692-6000. Glad I saved it. Anyway, so you call, and we give you a free assessment. And you get there's a wellness assessment. Do you have osteoporosis? Do you have you broken a bone recently? We really want to know where they come from. Why are they here? Why are they concerned?
Right.
And then after that, then you get a session coach. You're never alone. And they take you all the way through the program, from the vibration plate, which is great for healing inflammation.
What's a vibration plate?
Oh, it's a vibration plate that you stand on. It vibrates you like you're having a little baby earthquake. And you hold on. It's got bars. And boy, does it get your bones' attention. It really, your bones are going, where are we going? What are we doing? Because everything's shaking. And it's really good. It kind of makes them very aware. And it's very healing to people that suffer. Helps with balance as well. And then the coach takes you down from there, and you go through 4 spectrum machines. Your skeleton is broken up in 4 different ways, and the machines do 4 different things. Again, nothing is coming at you. Nothing. So it can't hurt you. You're seated in 3, and you stand in 1. And you're pushing the plate away, or you're pushing something. They're designed the way your arms sit, the way your legs sit, The doctor designed it to trigger bone growth. You trigger something that says, whoa, if she's going to do that with her legs, I got to spit more bone on that femur. Her femur's not strong enough to carry that. You only hold the pose for 9 to 10 seconds and then you release gradually. So people leave, they get back on the vibe plate, and then in the back of my building, I just did 2 things that were fun. I put a red light therapy room. Red light therapies are so healing. They're great for cellular healing. We had a lady that told us it healed her psoriasis. I didn't know about that, but she swears it did. They're just very, very healing, very natural, and they really do penetrate to the bone level. And then when you leave there, then you go to the hydro massage bed, and you lay on this lounge bed, and from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, it's pulsating all the way up and down your body with a warm water. Of course, you're fully dressed. You just feel the water beating against you. It is fabulous for your bones. And then you leave, you pick up your keys, and you walk out the door. And we see you next week for 30 more minutes next week.
And you recommend once a week?
Well, that's what they want you to do once a week. It's not necessary to do it more than that because the trigger that your mind has sent your bones to spit more bone out lasts for about 7 days. So even if you did it every other day, it's not doing anything more for you than what happens once a week. So once a week is plenty for 30 minutes.
So do people come in and pay weekly? How do you set that up?
Well, the assessments are free, and
Okay.
the people that say, you know what, I do want to do this, and now that I've seen it, I definitely want to join. We are $179 a month, and that's it. I don't do a contract. I had to actually battle with the franchise over that one. You're supposed to join for 6 months or a year, this or that. And I said, if somebody says after 6 months, I don't want to do this anymore, then we don't want them to do this anymore. And we want people that walk in the door like I did as a client and still do, excited. It's Wednesday at 1:00. I'm going to OsteoStrong. Like I knew I was making my bones better, and I had a problem, and I knew I had to solve it. So those are the folks walking in the door. So do I want to hold them to a contract? Absolutely not.
The expression is what? You don't want to marry someone that won't date you.
Right. Well, the point is, if and what has blown my mind is I had an open house the week before we opened, and I invited some physical therapists, the lady that owns a health food store, my doctor, my endocrinologist, my gynecologist. I just invited, some people in my life, and they all came. Most of them, I'd say 80 or 90% came. And what blew my mind is half of them joined.
Wow.
And I wasn't expecting that.
Wow.
I wanted them to see it so that when somebody said to them, I'm not taking the medicine, oh, well, I wanted my doctor to be able to say, well, actually, I went to OsteoStrong, and you do have a choice. But they joined. Then the gal that owned the health food store, she joined. Then she joined. And I was like, I was just expecting you to get the word out for me. Yeah. If someone came in and said, I suffer so, can you recommend vitamins for me? I wanted them to be able to say, well, did you know we had a new OsteoStrong in town? They've come to Pinehurst. I wasn't expecting them to join themselves, but I also didn't know how many were suffering quietly with osteoporosis, osteopenia, same old thing I was walking around with. So I was blown away and continue to be. When I leave this show right now, I'm going back because I have 4 assessments this afternoon.
Right.
4 people that have never been there before that have called up and said, may I be assessed, please? I don't charge for the assessment, and I don't hold anyone to a contract. I have to charge people a monthly fee because that's how we keep our doors open. Besides that, there is no charge.
So for the $179 a month, you want, if someone who signs up, they come in 4 times a month.
Or 5, depending on the week.
Could they come more than every 7 days?
They don't need to. See,
Okay.
we don't want, there's just no need to. If the trigger lasts 7 days, there's no need for them to. And I'm going to tell you something interesting that I did on this business that was interesting. We're only open Monday through Friday, just like a doctor's office. A full load of patients for us or clients for us will be 30 people a day because that's all we want to do and that's all we can do, where we will run people through with personal service that it matters. See, that one person really matters to us. And so as they go through, that's it. Well, 5 days a week. At 150, I'm full. So I'm not looking for thousands of, I want the people that really need to be here, that are going to say, this will be life-altering for me. This will be life-changing for me, as it was for me.
So the results, someone comes in for a week or 2. Are they going to feel differently as a result, or is this they have to have faith that what they're doing is helping their bone grow properly?
Well, faith is a good thing, except for it shows you it on the screen. Like a lady that I did this morning, she came in for her assessment the week we opened, so her assessment was in the machines. She came in last week, we opened, and it was her first session. Well, it was compared to what she did the week before. This morning they came in, which would be her third visit. So now she has 3 bars on the screen. And it's showing her each time she hit the growth trigger. Did she hit it? That's what we got to hit. But she was thrilled that she could see how much stronger she was getting already in just 3 visits.
Okay.
Well, if you pull up my screen, I've got 56 bars, on mine 56 weeks. So it shows you where my growth is. So we don't have to guess. And that's one of the things I loved about OsteoStrong. You're not guessing. It's not a feeling of, oh, I wonder if it is measuring for you how much bone you're getting back. And then we send you an emailed report. Every time you leave, our computers send an email report back to you. So I can pull up on my phone at any time where I was 6 months ago, where I was 3 months ago. Their technology is really something.
It's another app.
It's another app.
App.
That's right. And we have fobs that when you come in, we hit the machine with your fob and it immediately adjusts to Kathy Virtue. It says my name on the screen. It knows I'm 5'3.5", what I weigh. I mean, it gets the machine ready for me. Well, then when I leave the machine, the next person comes in and the coach puts their fob in and boom, it goes back to them. So they've really worked it out to a science, and it's wonderful.
All the information is on your website?
Yes.
www.osteostrong.me. Mm-hmm. And you're located in Turnberry Woods?
Yes, 160 Turnberry Wood. We're the very first building on Morganton and Turnberry Wood. It's a beautiful location. We're really pleased how the building came out. And again, we're 692-6000. People can call and get a free assessment. See if it's for you.
Mondays through Fridays?
Monday through Friday.
Hours?
It's like 8 to 5. Some days it's 9 to 5. It rotates back and forth. But we weren't going to open at 8, but we had a few doctors that joined that said, please let me come in at 8 before I see my patients.
Yeah.
So we opened at 8 a few mornings.
Love your passion.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's personal for me. This has been personal.
It shows.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on. OsteoStrong is it's a week old, and you got some good publicity going on and some good press. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, Kathy, thanks for
Appreciate
coming
it.
in. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.